What's up, everybody? This is Brendan with Exeter Supply. I'm the product specialist for Exeter. We're in quarantine mode with this COVID-19 situation right now. So I am in my backyard in eastern Pennsylvania, and to top it all off, we're under a tornado warning right now. So this is a perfect time to be doing this video outside. But nonetheless, the tool that we're going to discuss today and highlight is going to be the Gutermann Zonescan 820 correlating sensor. Many of you have heard of a noise logger, is the big phrase out in the industry, that you're going to be placing on your valves during the day to turn on overnight and look for leaks for you when the system's quiet and the pressure is the highest, which is prime time leak detection. The Gutermann Zonescan loggers, however, instead of just recording the sound, will also record the frequency, okay? And the big advantage to that is they have the ability to pinpoint leak locations. So the idea is to have two sensors hearing the same leak sound, and then that sound travels down the stretch of a pipe to both sensors, and they'll give you correlation. It's a beautiful thing. Saves you a ton of time trying to find your leaks. And there's a big advantage to that. Helps you get through your system in a timely fashion. Builds a little more confidence. There's a lot of frustration with noise loggers trying to find your leaks after the fact, and sometimes guys lose confidence in the actual equipment and just stop looking around for leaks as much as they should be. So this tool does a lot of the work for you, which is probably one of the best features of it. Works fantastic, and one of the best features, I believe, in my opinion, of the product is its ability to do 3 separate methods of leak detection under one logger. Okay, so the drive-by feature is an option. Lift and shift is an option, as well as a fixed base permanently installed system. So the same sensor works with all 3 different methods. So you can start out as a lift and shift system and as many loggers as you wish, 6, 8, 10, 20, 30. The number is up to you. And you can gradually grow that set of loggers into something larger than that, and then eventually down the road convert it into a fixed base system. So many different uses for the equipment, which I believe is a very good thing for utilities to kind of look forward and look ahead of upgrading their systems. So again, please see my video on the Zonescan 820 correlating sensor, and hopefully that will kind of give you a little more in-depth detail of what your daily routine is going to be like, programming the sensors, deploying them on your valves, collecting the data, sending them to the Zonescan cloud server. It's super easy. A couple times going through it, and everybody will be an expert at it. It's a fantastic website, zonescan.net, printing your reports out, managing your leaks, which again is very nice feature for the system. So thank you very much, and look forward to my next video.
Hey there, everybody. Brendan with Exeter Supply. Going to show you some slides on the Gutermann Zonescan 820 correlating sensor. We're going to take a look at the first method of leak detection, which is going to be your localizing your leaks. So this is going to be your survey tool that's going to be used as a proactive or reactive mindset, looking for leaks out in your system. As you see here, lift and shift by zone is pretty common for guys. They can either break their system up in different zones, or you can work yourself west to east, north to south, by diameters of pipe, by types of material. This is all up to you, as far as how you want to accomplish that. But basically the goal is the same for everybody, as you want to survey your entire system, typically on an annual basis, looking for leaks. In this particular case here, just for example, it's broken up in 4 different zones, A, B, C, and D. Another way of finding leaks, in addition to this, is by using your trending. Maybe you have, SCADA system that allows you to see changes in your system, and maybe that is information that can lead you to deploying sensors in a certain area of finding leaks. Let's take a look a little bit here closely. We're breaking it into 2 different categories as far as loggers go. The logger on the left is a noise logger, which captures the sound, and the logger on the right is a correlating noise logger, which captures the sound and also records the frequency. So the idea for this slide is just to kind of have a little bit of understanding of what the differences are. If you're in the market of looking for equipment, you may not understand that loggers are loggers, but there is a big difference as far as some equipment goes. So we need to understand what those are, and make sure that you're getting what you're paying for, and understanding what you're getting. So the logger on the left is basically just a noise logger. It's picking up the sound, and that's it. So you're deploying the sensors out in the field. They're picking up some sound. If they notice a lot of sound in a certain area, you get your ground mic out the following day, or your correlator, and you're going to spend some time out in the field looking around for your leak and see if you can find it. So it's a little more time consuming to find your leaks, if you can find them at all, with a noise logger. The correlating noise logger, however, the Guterman 820 logger, records the frequency in addition to the sound, to the decibel, okay? And the frequency is what's needed for correlation. So simply put, these loggers will pinpoint your leaks. If 2 sensors are hearing the same leaks frequency, traveling down the stretch of a pipe, they will pinpoint your leak so that you can get your ground mic out and just confirm that location. Either it's going to be a service, could be a leak right on the main, but in any case, it will pinpoint your leaks, and that's fantastic. As a person that's out in the field looking for your leaks, to go out there and find these things as soon as possible, and get off the street and get this thing repaired. What we see here in the picture is the basic equipment that comes with the Zonescan 820. It's pretty simple. The system comes with an Android tablet. There's software that's actually going to be installed on the tablet, an Android software, that's going to be an app that you're going to use to program your sensors and deploy them in the field and collect your data. The software, the app actually has interactive maps that are downloaded within the app. That app's going to be used, like I said, to GPS plot the location of these sensors out in the field. And it's all Google Maps, and it's very, very easy to use. 4 simple steps, which we'll get into here shortly. In the middle, you will see a silver box. That's the communication link, what we call the comm link. And what the comm link does is the Bluetooth connection between the tablet and the comm link. And the comm link is used anytime you want to communicate with the sensors. So it's basically used for a couple moments when you're programming it, the sensors, and when you're picking the sensors back up and collecting the data. The comm link does need to be recharged, maybe every other week, or once every 3 weeks. Since it's not used often, the battery tends to last pretty long. And then, of course, to our right, looks like we have about 8 Zonescan loggers there in a little pack. The loggers can be purchased in any number of loggers. Of course, you need at least 2 to get correlation. So the number of sensors can be decided by the user and can be built on as you go. A little bit about the logger. Getting to know the logger, I call it. Taking a look here, the loggers record the decibel the level and chart a decibel reading every 10 seconds throughout the duration of recordings. So if the logger is listening for an hour, it's going to pick up 6 recordings a minute throughout the entire hour and plot the decibel level, which then gives you a nice chart to show you the changes over a period of time. And the system's looking for consistency at a particular sound, which is what a leak would be like. In addition to that, the loggers also do a 3 15-second recording of the frequency along with an interval between those 3 15-second recordings. And basically what it's doing, it's looking for consistency. It wants to know that sound is there all 3 times throughout that whole hour you're listening for. So if it's a service drawl, or if it's just something that's a random service usage or whatever the case may be, it's not consistent, the system will kick that on or off to tell you if it's a leak or not. So it uses that as a secondary way of giving you a good quality correlation. And then very simple, the data is then uploaded to Zonescan Net, which is a high secured cloud server. And the server analyzes the data for you and will tell you right then and there if you have a leak or not. If left out more than 1 day, however, the logger will store up to 30 days worth of data. So the loggers have a timer in them and they know what time of the day it is. So when they're programmed to turn on, say, 2 a.m. in the morning, listen for an hour, they will turn on at 2 a.m. up to 30 days. They do only record the frequency the first night only. There's not enough memory in the sensors to pick up correlation for 30 days in a row, left unattended. However, the following 29 days, it will store the sound decibel level just like a noise logger would. So you do have the ability to leave them out for more than one day. There is no recharging these sensors. There's a lithium-ion battery, which is typically 4 to 5 years, depending on the use. After that point, the loggers get refurbished with a new battery, and they're good to go for another 4 to 5 years. And the loggers, of course, can be fully submerged underwater. That will not be an issue. Again, the most important thing is you want to have a good, solid connection with your sensor to your valve operating nut. Guterman does a fantastic job of making sure their equipment can always be upgraded within itself and not having to buy something new because now it's out of date. So Guterman has what they call firmware inside the actual sensors as a computer board, and as the sensors get sent back for a new battery, they will also upgrade the firmware inside the actual sensor to be up to date, free of charge, and that's lifetime. The Zonescan 820 logger has 3 standard applications all built inside one unit. Lift and shift mode is the most common guys are using to find quiet leaks or perform sectorial overnight leakage surveys to log the constant ambient noise levels and identify and pinpoint leaks. No radio signal needed for lift and shift mode. You could also do a drive-by mode for permanent or periodic deployment and daily to weekly collection of data in a drive-by survey. And finally, you can upgrade the sensors into a fixed networking monitoring system, fully unmanned and automatic permanently networked monitoring system with direct data transmission to the Zonescan Net cloud. So this is a fully permanently installed system that you deploy out in the field on your valves, and requires zero efforts out in the field, minimizes your deployment mistakes, and automatically sends you your data every single day to the website. and that's a fantastic feature. So again, the idea is, if you're looking down the road for a fixed network monitoring system, but you're not quite ready there for that, you could start out with a lift and shift system or a drive-by mode system, and you can gradually grow your loggers into a fixed network system down the road. So that's a very, very great thing to know you can do. So you're slowly investing into a fixed networking monitoring system. So when to deploy loggers? It's always the big question. Looking at it proactively, anyways. General survey. Typically, we are trying to perform an annual system-wide survey of our pipe network, looking for leaks. Therefore, loggers are deployed in a manner to achieve this goal. How often loggers are deployed really depends on the number of loggers and valves you may have out in the system, as well as your deployment method, whether you're doing lift and shift, drive-by, or fixed network. But in any case, we're trying to survey your entire system looking for leaks. But some other instances where you may want to use the equipment is after flushing or anytime a hydrant was operated. It's a good idea to deploy sensors around an area that had a hydrant operated on, specifically in the event of a fire, or, for example, or after your scheduled flushing occurs. Before and after paving, it's also a great idea to do a survey of your piping system before and after paving. It's always good to catch and repair any leaks prior to new paving of roads. Prior to pipe install warranty, this is a good one too. If your contractor provides a specific warranty of their pipe installation, it's a great idea to survey the pipes prior to the deadline. Repair. A double check in or around the newly repaired pipe break is a great idea for two main reasons. One, you may double check the repair was made correctly, and secondly, to assure no new pipe breaks happen during or after repair. New construction. I've heard it many times. This is new ductile pipe. We don't need to worry about leaks. That's can't be so far from the truth. Just because it's new construction, it's still a great idea to survey the area around any new construction. Pipes, valves, service line repairs, hydrants, etc. Pressure changes. If for some reason the pressure increase is made to the system, the piping system will experience additional stress, which in return can create new breaks along the piping system. So you can be creative with using the sensors in addition to your standard surveying of your system. You may want to stop along that way if any of these instances appear to check out certain situations. This is probably the number one question I always get, especially when we're doing demos, is, well, how far apart can I put the sensors in the field? Again, because we're using the best advantage for these sensors is correlation, we want to make sure that we don't have the sensors too far away from each other. Again, we need two sensors hearing the same leak frequency, and therefore we have correlation. So we want to have the sensors placed in a certain position to where they have a great chance of both hearing a leak sound. And take a look at this chart here, distances leak sounds may travel. This is all based off of a 5-gallon minute leak at 60 PSI. So this can change depending on certain situations and pipe condition and things of that nature. But taking a look at it, it's going to be your harder materials, your iron, your cast, and then your AC and your plastics are going to be lower. Okay, so and also what's going to make a difference is the diameter of the pipe. So taking a closer look here, we have iron pipe 6 inches. The sound may travel 1,000 to 1,200 feet on a 6-inch iron pipe, but as you go to a 12-inch iron pipe, the sound won't travel as far anymore, and that distance is reduced. And we get to the 24-inch iron pipe, and it's reduced even more. So smaller diameters and harder materials, that sound will travel further. softer pipes, such as 12-inch PVC, you're looking at 200 to 300 feet max. So these are things you have to think about when you're deploying your sensors out in the field and cleaning out your valve boxes, being proactively ready to deploy your sensors. So we've been talking about correlation. This little chart here is just to kind of explain what that means and what is the recipe for correlation. And it's actually pretty simple. What it is three basic things. If you see, we have sensor A on the left and sensor B on the right, and the big blue line is the pipe. And what we see there is on the bottom, you see distance. So that's the number one thing, is the overall distance between the two. And then we see Y and Y, and that's going to basically be the time delay from the leak sound to each sensor. Like I said before, the sensors do have a timer in them, and they know exactly how long that leak sound is taking to get to each sensor. Okay. In addition to that, the rest of the algorithm is the pipe material and diameter. So every pipe material and diameter has a set velocity of the speed that travels along that stretch of a pipe. So it's basically that simple. It's taking the distance, it's taking the time delay, and it's taking that velocity, and there is the equation. Those are the ingredients for the recipe of correlation, basically. Sensor positioning, what you want to try to do is you want to try to find that leak in between the two sensors. You may see a better quality correlation if the leak is more towards the middle of the pipe and not therefore real close to one sensor, kind of likes to be in the middle third. So somewhere in the middle third may give you a little bit more of a quality correlation than it would be right on top of the sensor. What you see here is a leak on maybe a service line. You have two sensors that's on the actual main, and but the leak is actually on the service line. The correlation distance then would be at the corp of that service line. So if you want to actually find and get a distance to that service line, or maybe that service line could be a lateral, you would have to move another sensor down. Now the leak is in between the sensors, and now you can get correlation. All right, so let's take a look at lift and shift and the process. So really, it's pretty easy. Does not take much time, but I do want to spend a little time here to talk about, what each setting is for, and what you would do on a typical day for programming the loggers. So like I mentioned earlier, it is a Android app, and what we see here in the screen is just a screenshot of the tablet and the app. So starting on the left-hand side, you see Zonescan Smart on the top, and then you see the 4 standard methods that you need to do there: program loggers, deploy loggers, collect loggers, and get your data. But as you see here, we have the areas are selected, because what you need to do is first, every day when you're going to program your loggers, is create a new area name. And that area name should be something specific to the street name, or to the street maybe, or something specific to where the loggers are going out in the field. And then follow that area name with a date is always helpful for finding it later. So it's pretty simple. Tap on areas, tap on new area, and then type in your area name. Then it takes you to the next step, which is programming your loggers. So you're going to tap on the top left with your 3 lines in the menu bar and tap on program loggers. And then it brings you to your 2 settings. Your noise level measurement is the start time and your duration. Okay. So typically that start time would be 2 a.m. and your duration would be 1 hour or maybe 2 hours. Your correlation setting is your 3 15-second recordings. If you remember earlier, we talked about that. So you're going to select 3 standard recordings, and then you're going to select your interval in between those 3 recordings. In this case, is 15 minutes. Then you're just going to go ahead and hit start with your comm link turned on, and it'll reach out and program your sensors via Bluetooth. And if you look over to the right, you see a list of all the logger numbers. Loggers have their specific logger number. So as you grow your set, the new set of logger numbers can be added to your list to be programmed. So now you're just going to grab your tablet and the loggers, and you're going to head out in the field, and you're going to get to your first location with your tablet, and you're going to have your Google Maps on your screen, and you're going to be able to start the process. And the first step to deploying your loggers is popping the lid and cleaning out your valve box. And typically the loggers need a clean connection to the valve nut. So it's best practice to think ahead and plan out your deployment areas, clean out your valve boxes in advance to better streamline your deployment process. Also, by doing so, it creates a safer environment as the time you spend on the street is minimized. Then you want to place your logger on the valve nut. Once the valve is clean, simply lower down the logger and attach the valve operator. The logger has a very strong magnet on the bottom side to ensure the logger remains with a great connection throughout the process. If water gets into the box, it will not harm the logger, and the leak sound can still be heard through the valve. As you deploy the logger, here's a screenshot of the app again, and the first logger on that list will come up to be deployed. In this case, it's 500230. You go ahead and just hit OK, and as you see on the right-hand side, logger 500230 is GPS plotted, looks like on Jaguar Street. So you just continue that until you get all your loggers deployed out in the field, and they are ready to go. So whatever time you program them to turn on, they will turn on automatically. There's nothing else you need to do. So if that was 2 o'clock in the morning, you come back the next following day and you physically go out in the field and collect the sensors. And that can be done basically in any order. And you don't need to have the comm link with you for that, especially for lift and shift. You're just going to come out in the field, pop the lid, grab a logger, and continue on till you have them all collected. Then we get back to our tablet. Once we have all the loggers collected, we're going to collect the loggers as you see on the left. And on the right-hand side, you tap the little logger symbol, and you can collect your loggers either one at a time, or you can select the symbol on the top with the double logger loops, and actually collects all the loggers at one shot. A little bit quicker way of doing it. And that basically just tells the system that, hey, we're done with that step. We collected the sensors, and we're good to go. And lastly, we're going to take this information now that we pulled the data back from the sensors to the tablets, and we're ready to send our data now to Zonescan Net. Again, Zonescan Net is our cloud server. It is a high secured server, and that server is going to do our job for us. By the time we upload our measurements, we will be able to log on to the website from any computer and see if we have a leak. We can analyze data, we can print reports, we can do some fantastic stuff through the website, which is very nice. So what we need to do is, at this point in time, we need to have an internet connection on our tablet. This is the only time we need to have internet connection. So grab a Wi-Fi spot or hotspot your phone real quick. And essentially, we're going to take this data, and when we upload it, it's basically sending an email to the server, and it takes a matter of 30 seconds tops, and that's it. So if you look over to the right, there's a from and until date. That date just simply needs to be when the loggers were out listening. In this case, it was October 4th, 2017. And that's the data that is being sent to the website. And again, when you send it to the cloud, each customer has their own specific login information and project name. And that's set up in the beginning through your account settings. And then you can log in with the information and see your data. And this is just what the website looks like. As soon as you hit upload, the information's already there, and Zonescan that analyzed all the sensors for you, and it's going to be able to tell you if there's a probable leak or any issues in that area they were deployed. So simply type in your username and password, and that's pretty much it, and you're good to go. All right, so that pretty much wraps up this PowerPoint. The next one we will follow up on with Zonescan Net more specifically. But there you go. That's pretty much the idea of Zonescan lift and shift and the process of doing so. Very simple, super easy. It's just a matter of doing it a few times and you'll be golden and good to go.